Small business, nonprofits and farms can now receive up to $2 million in federal disaster loans, or 4 times the limit set in spring, officials said. The U.S. Small Business Administration, citing an increase in COVID-19 cases due to the Delta variant, has raised the cap on its economic injury disaster loans, or EIDL. The loans, which are funded by the federal treasury, had been limited to $500,000 per applicant. Beside the higher EIDL maximum, SBA has made the loans available to more restaurants because a program for them, the Restaurant Revitalization Fund grants, ran out of money in weeks. Restaurants, along with gyms and hotels, are among the hardest hit industries.
Business during COVID has been a lot more difficult for smaller businesses because people can't really They don't have the extra spending money, At the most, they have the stimulus check, and usually that goes into the groceries and the funding. So it's a lot harder for a business like us, that sells tote bags and things that are more of a luxury to most people.
Companies, especially now during COVID, need a lot more digital marketing because there's not as much foot traffic. There's not as many people out. So the billboards don't do the same things. The newspapers don't do the same things.
We started our own drill team for autistic kids and other special needs kids. So, when COVID hit, we couldn't let them go practice, and that really hurt their feelings.
U.S. business leaders are still upbeat about the economic recovery, but they're not as confident as they were just a few months ago, and they blame the Delta variant and the super tight labor market for the drop in sentiment. The Conference Board, a leading business research think tank, reported Thursday that after hitting an all-time high of 82 in the second quarter on hopes that the United States has turned a corner on the pandemic, the index slid to 67, a nearly 20% dip in the third quarter.
This is the first Small Business Exposition in Philadelphia since COVID-19. Philly seems busy again, it seems lively again. However, COVID is not going away. If you talk to anyone here, you'll find that COVID is very much on everybody's mind.
Well, due to the pandemic, my business, which is the mobile detailing business, has actually changed and went to the opposite because there was never a need for me to contact or be in direct contact with my client. The client can just simply open the door with their keyless remote.
There's a lot more sitting down with people through Zoom, which loses some of the immediacy, some of the intimacy of sitting down with people in a quiet spot at home to talk about what's really important.
People were afraid to buy houses. They were afraid to get close to them and get close together. And so it hurt my business at the beginning. But now I'm starting to get back into the normal swing of things.
A third of small business owners across the U.S. have voluntarily reinstated pandemic restrictions during the latest surge in COVID-19 cases. That's a big change from as early as May, when 85% of small businesses were fully open, as infections subsided and government-mandated rules for business lifted. But by August, that figure had dropped to 63%, according to a survey by Cabbage, a small business lender owned by American Express. Among the safety measures employers have reinstituted are the limiting of customer capacity as well as the requirement that both workers and patrons be vaccinated. Wu, China America Radio, Philadelphia.